Okay, let's go. Um, it's past midnight. I just came back from a game, and I really, really need to see how I did because I can't sleep otherwise, and I have work at like 12 in the morning next time. So yeah, I really need to figure that out right now. Um, okay, half past 12, but whatever, same thing. Yeah, I played a white game, which is also only my second white game, no, third white game this season out of 7. And I played e4. My opponent played c5. I had looked into this interesting line in the Najdorf, but my opponent didn't actually go into that. They played, excuse me, they played e6, d4, take, knight c6. And I'm fairly certain the main line goes knight at c3, knight f6, knight takes c6, b takes, and then e5. Fairly certain. But my opponent didn't play knight f6. They played queen c7, so I was out of prep already. And like the idea of playing e5 is generally a good thing to prevent d5, and my opponent wants to play d5 safely. Um, I probably should have played f4 immediately, but I decided to play something well, more developing. I played bishop e3 first, which is usually a good idea. You often have these types of options, and then the bishop attacks here could be useful. I could have also... No, I can't play bishop f4. There are variations where you genuinely play bishop f4 because e5 is not a threat, because you take. But here you can't, of course, do that because of the queen. Okay, I do need my notation here. Yeah, bishop. I assume knight f6. Yeah. Okay. Now I know again what we're doing. So I can't actually play e5 in any way, so I needed to find something else. And one of the main issues that's, well, I mean, this is quite... This e6 variation supports d5, but it also allows this bishop to go to b4, which can be very annoying. So I played a3 here. I think that's probably decent. You can't go here, I think. Probably because of... Oh yeah, knight takes e6. Wins a pawn. So knight takes e6, f takes e6, and bishop takes c5. You also can't go to d6 because of knight b5 winning a piece. So this bishop really can't go anywhere else. So it doesn't for quite a while. a6 happens. And here I play bishop e2. I just develop. Can't go to c4, I don't think. Maybe you can, but I think bishop e2 makes sense. My opponent plays h5. Well, I believe this is normal. That you try to play knight g4 and attack here. And if I castle now, you can play knight g4. And I think that's probably good for black if I castle now. So instead I play f4. Which is not a good move, I don't think. I don't think f4 is a good move. But what else? I mean, I don't need to castle short. I can castle long. But then I kind of like the queen on this diagonal, which is kind of an issue. One thing I noticed is that, I mean, I can't really play f4, I don't think. I don't think it's a good move here. But Um, After my opponent takes, I can play takes. I take with the queen, and then I can play f4. And if I take, I can also then play f4, but I might not want to. What I want to do is play. Actually, what I want to do is play f4, then take, then play e5 immediately. Again, this is the same idea as before. And but the unfortunate part of f4 is I believe my opponent can play a5. They didn't, but I think this is a good move. And the point is that if possible, I don't want to take here, is the point. So I could try this, but then, and if you take with the queen, I of course take here, which then I win a pawn, and that's fine. Actually, I lose e4 there. That's also a thing. So I lose this. And I think that's probably okay for me still, but I believe you also have this. Maybe I can just take, but that's... Yeah, I lose my e-pawn and I'm just down a pawn here. Unless I have e5 or something, or something else that's smart. I don't see it. So I think, and if I don't take this pawn, then I'm definitely down a pawn. Right? Apparently it's all still fine. If I just do this. Oh, you get knight d5, which is good. Yeah, unfortunate. Fortunately, my opponent didn't play e5. My opponent played d6. Which supports e5, but I thought at this point at least, that anytime they play e5 and break open the center, it has to be not bad for me, because my king will be quite quickly will be safe quite quickly, and my opponent's king won't be. So I can go for an attack. I also thought that if e5 I could play knight f5. Maybe that's the point here. e5, knight f5. Now here it's definitely a lot worse. No, here's it's that. They just take on f4. Yeah, maybe it's just not good here, right? No, it's okay. It's okay, but it's not great. So d6 to prep that, and I realized here e5, actually knight f5 g6 also. It's kind of annoying. So I realized that here this is actually really annoying. My plan was to play knight f5 here, but after e5. But I realized that that doesn't work, so I need to, after e5, take this knight, but after queen takes, this pawn is attacked twice, so I decided to defend it, and I decided to play bishop f3, which really invites e5, because that blocks this pawn in, which makes this bishop bad. So my opponent should be quite happy to play e5 here, and I still think it's good enough for me because of the lines opening up being slightly advantageous for me, I think. And then in the end I actually closed the center, which is, well, it's fine. It's probably still decent, because this king still won't be safe ever in any position. He can't really castle long in a lot of positions. And if you castle short at any point, I just win the h5 pawn as well. So yeah, my opponent plays e5. I looked at knight d5 as well, which I thought was a funny, but it doesn't work. I take, and if you take with the queen, now I get knight d5, and now it's actually very good, because I win h5 in the end. So this you're basically forced to take, and then the queen has to move somewhere. Let's say maybe you can go here and attack the b2 pawn, but I can take here, is the point. I also saw that you can play this and attack this f4 pawn. Yeah. Which also you can just take, but maybe then I get this, which is very scary. Yeah, but yeah. d6, e5 happened, knight takes e6, so pawn takes e6 was forced and my opponent played it. Makes sense, of course, as well. And here I play f5, because I mean, my opponent can take, and if my opponent takes and I take back, I'm happy, of course. But my opponent doesn't have to take, and I wanted to break this diagonal so this bishop didn't really have anything to do. And d5 is still never an option, so I decided to play f5 here, which also has a secondary point of trying to just win this pawn, which is not great, but it's probably decent enough. It will give me a what's it called, structural advantage. It's not the word, but you know, it makes sense. And you also really can't play g6 because all the lines open and the king is safe absolutely nowhere. I mean, it still is. Bishop b7 to make the bishop do something. It supports d5, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders on it, and they only have 3 attackers. Actually, the other way around. So I have 4 attackers and my opponent only has 3 defenders. So they still can't do it. I played castle. Yeah, bishop e7 and king h1. And the point is that my opponent really needs to... I mean, my opponent, yeah, kind of needs to choose how to castle, and neither of them is good. Because if they castle short, I win the h-pawn, clearly. If my opponent castles long, then I can start an attack with like knight a4 and bishop b6. So I basically spent the tempo doing something kind of useful, getting off of this diagonal. And my opponent really needs to make a choice, and they really can't make any good moves, I don't think. They tried to play knight g4. And here is the interesting part. This is a pawn sacrifice, but I think if I just accept the pawn sacrifice, so bishop takes, h takes, queen takes, you play attack here, so you play bishop f6. Next you go long, and then you get 2 rooks on the h file, and then start bashing, basically. Maybe I still have bishop g5 here, and now I'm still quite maybe queen e7. I think I'm not really happy here. Maybe this is still fine. Let's see. Okay, apparently this is quite good for me. I didn't go into this, but that was the idea. Bishop e7 did happen. King h1, knight g4 happened. I decided instead to go for a different line, and I thought that was quite a strong variation. I did actually take, because this bishop is also quite bad and this knight is quite good. Then instead of taking my opponent's pawn sacrifice, I counter-sacrifice. I played f6, which I think is good. And the idea is that on g takes f6, I then take on g4, and my opponent can't castle because I attack both of them. Then I get to g7, and then we continue from there, and like bishop h6 and stuff. That's probably the easier version for me to play. And on bishop takes f6, I can still do this. They can't castle either way, because I attack here, and this is pinned, so I win the bishop. I could do that, but I thought that if I take here, bishop c8 goes back. I need to play queen g3, maybe bishop, no. Still can't castle, but like bishop e6 there, and then quite difficult to play. I decided actually to sack my rook, and I think this is genuinely good. So let's look at it, because it's, yeah, let's look at the game. I really want to see if this is good. They take, of course, and now I take on g4. They can't castle, and I actually win the f6 pawn by force. I also calculated. Didn't play it optimally, fairly certain, but I do win the f pawn by force here. So I'm threatening to go to g7. I am also threatening to just play rook f1 and take this pawn. But this is really the main issue. My opponent, I think they can probably get away with king f8 here. But I still win the f6 pawn by force. I'm fairly certain. In basically the same line as we get in the game. I think that's okay. My opponent actually instead played king e7 because they didn't see that they lost the pawn by force. I play rook f1 because now if I play queen g7 it gets trapped, of course. So rook f1, attacking the pawn. And now there are two lines. On bishop c8 I play queen g7 and then take the pawn, and it's undefendable. And on rook g8, rook a g8, which is the other move, I can attack the... well, this is the main obvious move, but bishop c8 also makes a lot of sense to put the bishop somewhere useful. Rook a g8 also makes sense, but here I attack this pawn a second time, and it's really undefendable, I saw at least, and my opponent missed that, interestingly. I should play queen f3 here, in retrospect. I played queen f5, which allows something in like 6 moves. Well, it basically allows this bishop to get a tempo on my queen. So I should probably play queen f3, and the same trick still works. Queen f5, the only way to defend this pawn here is rook g6, and my opponent played it. They could have also sacked the pawn, but they tried to defend, and I played bishop g5 here, which I saw in advance, and my opponent thought that this was the move of the match. Maybe they were even talking about the entire 8-game match that we played in our competition, but I mean, this is still a good move, because I attack this for a 3rd time, and if you take either like this or like this, I get a fork on the rook. So if this I take here and win this rook, and if this I take here, and well, I can pick which rook, and it depends on where my opponent goes. If they go to the back rank, I take this rook with check probably. Actually they can't go there, of course. And if they go here, I take this rook probably, threatening rook f7, and then I'm just better, right? Yeah, good enough. Yeah, you have to go king f8, which makes sense, and then I take here, and I'm just better. I'm just up a pawn at least, and have more activity. So yeah, and if you don't take, I just win the pawn, and my opponent did not take, of course. They played bishop c8, which is, yeah, that's the issue with queen f3, because the same trick works, or queen f5, the same trick works with the queen on f3. I just need to attack f6 and f7. But now the bishop gets a tempo on me, so I take, of course. That's the entire point. The king goes to e8, I'm fairly certain. Where are we? Yes, there. King e8. Yes. Wait, sorry, that didn't happen. Bishop g8 didn't happen. The move that actually got played was rook hg8. And then after this, I had to defend this pawn, and I think g3 is correct. Now bishop c8 gets a tempo on my queen, and it gets active as well, here or here. So I have two options. I can go either to f2, which I think is useful to be on this diagonal as well, but then you get bishop h3 with a tempo, or I can be on h5, which is not a good place, but I can maybe go to h7, and it mostly defends h3. So I went with h5, queen h5. Bishop went to g4, and now I go to h4. I didn't go to h7 because it doesn't really do anything. The pawn is defended twice. And this bishop is like, I mean, it's good, but these three squares are all defended, and this one is 2 and that one is 2, so they can't do much with it. The only thing it really does is defend against my knight maneuvering, which is something that's like I really struggled with in the game. This knight is just, it's really hard to do anything with it. All it does is prevent e5, but I already prevent e5 basically. Well, not in this position. No, right? No, in this position you can still play d5. It does sack a pawn, but I think you just take here and be happy with it. Maybe d5 is good here. My opponent played queen d7 to support it, and support this, to try to get my rook off of this good square. Mostly the f-file, because it's stuck on the... yeah. So, it's not really stuck actually. One thing this also does, this bishop, is it prevents me from going here, which I kind of want to do now. But I did want to prevent this regardless, because once my rook moves the off of the f-file, then this becomes a weakness. Oh yeah, that was the trick. The scary part is if I do nothing, let's say b4, bishop h3, let's say here, and then queen g4. Yeah. And I think I can probably, I think this is still okay for me. Actually, isn't this just checkmate? No, you can do this. Then I can take here or something, maybe if I want to. I don't think I want to. Maybe this is good for me still. Yeah, this is definitely good. Knight's maneuver here. That seems interesting. But yeah. So maybe I can still survive all of that. But I instead decided to play king g2 to prevent bishop h3. It also prevents something to go to f3, so I can move this rook safely without any scary ideas going on. King g2, and the queen went to b7. And the point is that they attack here, and that's kind of annoying. I can play b3, but yeah, b3 seems safe. Knight a4 might be useful, but then d5, then maybe knight c5. Then my knight is good again, but that sacks this. I instead played bishop d8. Well, so if my opponent takes, it's checkmate, of course. Yeah, and also it opens up this line. I had ideas of playing rook f6, because you can't take the bishop in between, you have to basically take, and then I take with the maybe the bishop actually, and then play queen h7, and then we could play on. Something like that was the basic idea. As well. So bishop e6 happened, so I didn't have really anything to tackle with on f7 anymore. I can still play rook f6, but I didn't really see the point. So yeah, here I mean we are already at quite a big time issue. We had some time trouble here. My opponent after the game mentioned that if I did something like this, which I definitely looked at, my opponent was considering king d7, allowing this, and now the bishop is hanging, so I can't actually take this pawn. Right? I can't take the pawn, right? I have to check. Yeah, there's really just nothing. So I'd have to move, let's say, to... Oh, I can't move. I have to take the queen then. Then my bishop moves. Like here. And... Ooh, I win up... No, king c7. And then I'm not really happy with this position anymore. Okay, so my opponent's plan made sense. So instead of playing b3, maybe I should play... I looked at knight a4 as well, to go to b6. So knight a4... I mean, I can also go to c5 there as well, after d5. So the only thing this knight does is prevent d5, so once the knight moves, the first thing I'm looking at is d5. But let's say knight a4 is an alternative, because my move was bad. Let's say this. Oh, now I get this funny. And now this is with check. Queen c5, is that good enough? Do I have to find something else? I mean, I can also just play this or something. Let's see what the... Apparently my position sucks. What? What's that? That makes no sense. Oh, my knight is hanging as well. No, my knight isn't hanging if I just play this. What's the point? What's the issue? Oh. Oh, it's discovered. Lol. Lol, oops. Okay, yeah. It's... is it a... Okay, let's just leave it at this. And I think everything is safe for me. So now I can do whatever I want. I don't have to take the pawn, obviously, and fall for that trick. I can play c4. No, c4, maybe they just sack the bishop. No, they can't. Maybe it's c4 here. Still worse. Whatever, I'll play c4. c4 seems decent. And then we play on. Maybe that just means I'm worse regardless. But yeah, what I did is definitely not good. I played queen or bishop a5 with the idea that I'm threatening checkmate here, but I allow queen e7, which is kind of an issue because my queen kind of gets trapped here. The only safe square is actually my queen does get trapped. The only because here bishop g4 in between, and then here, and then queen f8. I can just go back there and oh, and then this. No, then I have d8 again. If I don't take, my queen definitely gets trapped. Let's see. Rook hg7, sure. Rook g queen f8, yeah, I saw this. King d7, yeah, okay, now it gets trapped slowly. Yeah, now it's trapped. Okay, I saw that the queen does get trapped. So queen e7, I have to take, of course, and take, and now my position is just worse, but not the end of the world, I don't think. Where are we? King d7, yeah. Rook d1, and I started putting pressure on the d-pawn, which doesn't really work, but I had to do something. f5 immediately, which isn't that scary, I don't think. Bishop b4, and the point is that I attack here, and if they try to defend like that, I just go back and then get the d5 square. And if they defend like this, then we'd play on, basically. I can also go here, by the way, and then they can just move the bishop, because the rook defends. Same thing, my opponent played bishop c8 here, doesn't really matter. And I defended the pawn with king f3, also get out of this pin. Didn't really work, but I tried. f4, and if I take now, then the cavalry comes in, and I think I'm just dead there. My knight is still terrible, is still in the way of the bishop, and it also attacks here, so I have to defend. Rook g1, bishop g4 check, king f2 makes sense. Rook h8, which infiltrates, and I can't really defend it because of this take here. And I think that's probably losing, because I have to take with the king, and then you get to discovered attack somewhere. And if I do this, then f3, of course. And if I do this, then this hangs again, and then you get to discovered again. Or I have to sack the h-pawn still. So instead I decided to do this. Allow the infiltration and go up. This is nothing because of this knight, fortunately. So, and I have this pin, sort of. Might be useful. There were also some lines that I looked at where I played e5, but yeah. So take, and then eventually play e5 or something, or I take myself. Yeah. And then take here and play e5, I believe. I looked at a lot of lines, but nothing really happened ever, because they just take here with check, 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 and play king e6. So now this really isn't anything. E5 was mostly there to use the pin and attack this pawn. And here I played a bad move. And I don't think it matters because the game already is over. I should probably play knight d1 here. I needed to move the knight so I can go here. And this bishop is quite useful there. So I should have probably played this and go here or something and defend this maybe. But I went here and got pinned and then I just lose. Rook h6 and this rook gives check, which I missed, but that doesn't matter. And now I just lose my piece and the game is just over. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I think I played well, at least the early part. So I'm noticing I'm playing better. I'm genuinely noticing that, and I hope that it shows in the analysis as well. But my score of 1 out of 7 for the season is just not great. And like last week I played 3 rapid games. I got some good opponents, but I went 0 out of 3, which is that should not happen to me. I should get at least 1. But yeah, I'm just losing a lot, but I'm playing better, I think, which is kind of weird. At least we'll see if I'm playing better. E5, yeah, c5, yeah. D4 take makes sense. Knight c6, knight c3 makes sense. Yeah, bishop e3 is the best move here. Apparently makes sense. And f4, yeah, I should. F4 makes sense. A3 is the second move. Hey, I'm playing well. A6 now. Bishop e2 first, sure. H5 and f4. Oh, hey, we're playing some sort of main line-ish. Yeah, I thought they could take on d4. No, I thought they could play e5 here. But maybe not. Maybe e5 is just bad. Oh, I take? That's... thought it was never take. What's the point? Okay, I guess we're doing this. And now this is unstoppable. Okay. Apparently e5 is bad. d6. And now bishop f3, which really invites e5. And it's decent. Knight takes c6 is fine. I considered knight e2, but knight f5 seems mediocre. Knight takes c6, b takes c6 was forced, queen takes c6 is quite a lot worse. E takes e4 is also fine, but I just take with the bishop. And now, yeah, f5 is not a good move, I don't think. That's okay. Bishop b7, again knight a4, interesting. Just castle, bishop b7, king h1. Yeah, those moves are not findable. a5 here. d5 makes sense if that's good, but I didn't think it was good. This is not it though. It doesn't like taking. It does like b4, knight a4, apparently. It just doesn't like this, apparently. Oh, king e7 is good. And king f8 isn't, or is not as good. Yeah, okay. I win the pawn. I do win the pawn. So Engine agrees that I do win the pawn, but it's apparently just not even good enough here. And I should play queen f3, yeah. Or f2 actually I was looking at, but queen f3 also makes sense. But this is just... yeah, king g2 makes sense, queen b7, bishop d8 is good. Yeah, and now, I mean, bishop a5 definitely isn't good, but I was looking at this. Oh, interesting, rook g4. And you can't take the bishop because of... Oh, rook takes e6. Ah, that's funny. You can do this, and then you still need to... Hmm? Oh, now you can't do it anymore, so you still need to find king d7. Bishop a5, and then, yeah. Okay. But bishop a5 really isn't it because of queen e7. Apparently it's still fine, because the engine just doesn't agree with my sack. Knight d1 might make sense to go here. I looked at that, but I thought that I wanted to play rook d1. Apparently c5 is good, but yeah, whatever, doesn't matter. f4 makes sense. Rook takes d6 I looked at, but like, what's the point? g1. Yeah, taking is best. Oh, now it's suddenly okay, sort of. Well, it's not good. Yeah, I looked at just king c1 and my king is actually safe there. So it'd be okay. Bishop a5, of course. But this is nothing. And king e3... why didn't I play this? There was a reason. Doesn't it also just lose to this? No, because I'm attacking the rook. This... Oh yeah, c5 wins there. Yeah. So that's why I played king d3, so that in this... No, not that. That's... then I'm playing the game, of course, again. But in this line I can now go to c4. And now this, bishop c3, and I'm kind of okay, maybe. Oh, they're threatening bishop e6, mate. Lol. Okay, king b1. Knight c1, bishop e6. Okay, they win a pawn by force. Yeah, okay. But this is just game over because I lose the piece. And on king d2 they go here again and I just lose the piece. Because it's pinned. Yeah. Apparently it's really weird that this really felt like it would be good. But maybe I'm just missing a tempo. Queen d1, lol. We're not back yet. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, this plan of my opponent makes sense. Should go here. Oh, now you can't take because of the other rook going to h6. Because I can't go back to g5. Okay, so queen f5 is the move to win this pawn. But apparently it's just fine. Oh yeah, this. Yeah. I don't know why I should play queen f3 here and not queen f2. Let's look at this. Oh, to play rook f2. And rook d2 makes sense. Rook d3 doesn't make sense, but I'll accept it for now. Oh yeah, b4, okay. Now I'm putting pressure on the other f-pawn. This is an interesting line. Not sure why a4 though, but like rook d3 also doesn't really make sense to me. Sure, let's play a4. Let's look at this line a bit more. You can take there. Is that mandatory? Queen e6, queen 2. I don't see it. I don't see the point. So let's play a normal move. Okay, put all the things back here. You can't take on f6. Apparently I just have nothing. Still quite weird. Okay, so instead of the rook sack, I mean I should just apparently not take, I should play b4. What's the point of b4? Let's say d5 makes sense. Oh, bishop. This makes no sense to me. Let's make another let's make a better move than rook h4. Oh, there's nothing. Queen e7 or whatever. Up a pawn. Then yeah. This is really weird to me. But yeah, I should just... Even this is still fine. d4, d5 happens, which I assume. Queen takes g7, you're forced to castle long because I otherwise just win. Now f6. Knight b1. Bishop g1 makes sense, but knight b1 does not. I mean, this was... Oh, d4 was a threat to win a piece, so I had to do something. Now I'm up a pawn, 2 pawns even, but my opponent has a lot of compensation. Probably should have just accepted that. Fortunate. I do genuinely think I'm playing a lot better than I used to last year. Yeah, but we're just not seeing it. In the results at least. Well, I mean, this is gonna be the last one for the year. Then I think I'm probably going to play in a tournament that starts on January 2nd. So I'll analyze those games as well. See you then.